Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and in today's video I wanted to showcase you guys one of the most fun comps I've been able to play so far in Season 2. In the past, in Legion, I used to play a little bit of double rogue, a very fun comp that's very cheesy as well. All it takes is 2 rogues and enough patience to sit in stealth and force out cooldowns out of everybody. So I got to play some double rogue in Season 2 of BFA, and I thought that it went pretty good. I kind of want to go over some of my games and maybe to inspire you guys to jump in with another rogue and do some 2v2s, casually capping out your conquest while having a little bit of fun. Now, just to demonstrate to you the effectiveness of this comp and how good it is, you could really stun lock somebody in a single go. We're playing as our favorite spec, so I'm playing as Outlaw, my buddy is playing as Subtlety, and I think there is probably a perfect combination for this comp, maybe like an Assassination rogue with a Subtlety rogue to make the best value out of it. But what I like about playing Outlaw with Subtlety is because I can play my favorite spec, but also the synergy between Subtlety and Outlaw, as an Outlaw can buff Subtlety's one-shot burst combo, making it a lot more potent when it comes to scoring kills. And the crowd control that Outlaw has together with a Subtlety rogue is also a little bit nuts. So it's a combination of using the Outlaw to buff Subtlety, bursting together at the same time, using the Outlaw to CC the healer in most cases because of the ranged CC, and using Subtlety to lock down the kill target. Now I want to actually sit down and break down a couple of these games to tell you guys exactly what we did in order to score the kill, explain to you why it worked and what worked, and exactly what we were trying to accomplish. The arena starts, it's a survival and a rested druid, and most of the survival hunters start in camo. Because this one did not, what we are simply going to do is get a cross CC and open up on the healer since we are able to land ASAP. Somehow his pet still finds me, not really sure exactly how that happened, but he just took a chomp out of me when I got a little close, and then I had to eat the burst opener by the hunter. We decided to make a split-second decision, throw some CC on the hunter, open up on the druid, see if he can force any trinkets. I decided to use the blind on the hunter, and most people are fine trinketing something like a blind from a rogue. Most people justify it because, well, it's 2-minute cooldown for a pretty big ability, so my trinket is going to be the counter for this 2-minute ability. They line up pretty well, and most people have no problem responding to it, since it looks like both of the rogues are attacking his healer. I'll follow up with a gouge to get this guy off of me so I'm not eating too much burst, and we can see the healer pop in every defensive to survive. But the hunter, now without any kind of trinket, is open to a smoke bomb with a stun from both rogues, with us popping cooldowns and nuking him down. Couple things to point out. First of all, the hunter didn't really play his survival of the fittest, which is a wall ability for hunters that have a tenacity pet that allows them to take less damage, and if he pre-walls it, he might have been able to survive. Since he used his pet sack on the healer, which he was trying to, because his healer was out in the open, he was getting bursted, they were trying to make sure the healer survives so then the hunter can survive, he put himself out in a vulnerable spot. What's good about double rogue is not everybody knows exactly that's what's happening. They don't really understand the whole turnaround the rogues can do with stuns. So unless you're playing against players with a lot of experience against this kind of comp, as long as you play almost perfectly as a rogue, you should have a fairly fun time in 2v2 arenas. The next comp is double rogue versus disc priest assassin rogue. Disc Priest is basically a second DPS, so if an Assassin Rogue gets to go through all the burst rotation while a Disc Priest helps them do damage, it's basically over for us. We have to get very aggressive, but also very CC heavy. We decided we're gonna look for the Rogue. Both of us are running this nifty Azeroth trait called Self-Reliance. This Azeroth trait gives you a small heal every few seconds as long as there's no enemy within your vicinity. So whenever this trait goes off, we know a Rogue is somewhere nearby, especially when we're looking for one. So we don't really know exactly where the rogue is at, we know his general location, or we know that he is somewhat close. That means we can start looking around, frantically spamming our sap macro in order to hopefully find the guy. We get the opener, which is something you always want to do as a rogue. If you get the opener, you'll be able to start off with a good step. We're going to follow that up with some CC on the healer while CCing the rogue. We're gonna have my Subtlety rogue focus on crowd controlling Nesper the rogue, while I will be CCing the healer. Looking back at my rotation, I honestly should have done blind out of that sap instead of a full stun, because then this way we would have been able to deny the rogue and the team their pain suppression. So if you are playing against a disc-based rogue, make sure to follow sap into a blind rather than sap into a stun, or follow up with a smoke bomb in order to stop. My subtlety rogue decides that we need to get the trinket out of this rogue, so we're going to drop a smoke bomb. The healer has no sap DR, so we could sap him any moment. This is going to force a trinket out of the rogue who's in smoke bomb. He wants to go for some damage. We're going to get a blind on the rogue, so he's out of the game, and we're actually going to swap our damage onto the healer. With no pain suppression, and as long as he doesn't put barrier ahead of time, we should be good to go. The rogue doesn't have any sap DR since we've been doing damage to him, so we can score the kill on the healer by turning it around on him. GG, and there's the game. Although Nesper is a gladiator rogue, and he was still able to score a kill on my subtlety partner, and me and him had a little bit of a 1v1, just shows you the caliber of player that Nesper is. Pro tip, if you guys want to see some of the better players play the game and you want to face into them early, start playing arenas at the beginning of a season. That's where all the gladiators are at, that's where all of them are playing, and even if you get to like 1400 MMR day 1 of new season, you'll still probably run into a glad or two climbing the rating, so you can really see just how good these players are. Speaking about good players, is that the real Sam I am the BlizzCon champion? We were lucky enough to run into him and a random healer that he was playing with, so it was really cool to demonstrate how strong Double Rogue is. I will be in charge of CCing the healer since I have a ranged stun and a ranged blind. My subtlety rogue is going to open up on Sam with a full kidney. Subtlety rogue should be opening on a kidney if it's an orc player since CC is simply not going to last nearly as long. Sam sees the kidney and he sees that we're going to be going for a long-term burst. He decides that he doesn't want his healer to trinket a sap. Since we have plenty of CC, he needs to find a way to survive this. The only way he will survive this is if he trinkets and pre-walls this damage. So we're not going to score a kill on him in this opener, so now it's really all about trying to see if we can force a trinket out of the healer. He's still sitting in sap. I'm going to follow up with a ranged stun on the healer, and then we're going to follow up with a blind afterwards. And while we're doing that, we're still going to tunnel pressure into Sam. I'm going to eliminate the totems as I see them, going to get a blind as my stun is about to end onto the healer, and he trinkets. Now it's all about trying to find a reset on these guys, whether it is CC in the healer or both of us vanishing, or to simply truck the damage through. We're actually seeing the healer dropping down Iron Bark on Sam to follow. That's a pretty big defensive, and it looks like these guys are running just about out of everything. I'm gonna drop my smoke bomb defensively so that Sam doesn't obliterate my subtlety rogue just yet. I really want for him to turn the attention to me, and that's exactly what happens. Sam starts doing damage to me instead. I burn my cloak since all we need to do is get cross CC and we get the kill. I asked for my rogue subtlety friend if he can get any CC. He says no, so I'll go for my stun. We're gonna follow up with a blind afterwards, and Sam is left out in raptor form with an earth shield, and that's all he can do. Since we're not toxic boys here, we're just two rogues that love to play rogues. I do a nice little bow to the druid. I have nothing but respect for Sam, Sidu, and Mez, the boys that are putting NA on the world map at the BlizzCon. But it should show to you just how strong Double Rogue is. With the amount of CC and burst together, you could really make this into an actual comp. Now the next comp I want to show you is Double Rogue versus Mage Rogue. I personally believe Mage Rogue might be even a better comp than Double Rogue, because Mage and a Rogue have two types of damage, physical and magical, combined together in a bursty playstyle no matter the spec that the Mage plays. If they're fire, burst. If they're arcane, double burst. If they're frost, burst, as well as insane slows. And for the Rogue, you can be Assass, Outlaw, or Subtlety, but in my personal opinion, I think Subtlety plays best with it because of all the CC. So the best way for us to deal with this is to find the rogue. That means one of us has to open on the mage. If we find the rogue, we generally win most of the encounters. We baited out the rogue by letting my subtlety open on the mage. As an outlaw, I simply don't have enough burst damage to deal with a mage, or even burst enough damage to force our rogue to open on me. Since my subtlety rogue has better burst, the subtlety rogue is going to put the mage in a tough spot. It's going to force this assassination rogue to peel for the mage. That means assassination rogue has to show himself. I get to open on the Assassination rogue, and we get to see what happens. Is anybody gonna trinket? Is anyone gonna pop a defensive? Who is gonna do what? And we can kind of make our decision from there. The biggest aspect to rogue mage gameplay is just how risky you have to play it in order to get the kill. What the mage decided to do is ice block a lot of the damage that the subtlety rogue was putting out, since his assassination partner cannot do anything for him. Ice block, get out of it, and try to go for burst. Since the rogue trinketed, there's no point of us attacking him. He's stunned the yard, we might as well blind him into sap him and then follow up with stuns later. Since the mage is out there, vulnerable, in the open, without an ice block, we might as well continue just sinking as much damage as we can and cover ourselves with cloak, basically making us immune to his damage. With enough damage output and some cross CC onto the rogue afterwards, the mage goes down, and then we have to find the rogue in the game of peekaboo for a little bit. I gotta be honest, my subtlety rogue partner is kind of insane. He just told me at the beginning of this game where he's just gonna find the druid. He said, hold on, let me find the druid, then we can burst on the monk. And moments pass and he literally finds the druid. We decided to open up on the monk. Since I don't have any combo points at all, I'm just going to use my range blind in order to hit the druid from a distance. We see that the healer decided to trinket the blind, so we drop down smoke bomb, trying to force more cooldowns out of these guys. As a healer gets close, we get him into a stun, but our CC chain with stuns back to back on the monk simply wasn't enough with the damage provided in order to score a kill on the monk right there. He was spamming for the karma the whole time, so we kind of have to reset and redo this. My rogue does get a blind on the healer, where I can follow up with a stun and maybe a vanish sap, but my problem was simply making a mistake of stunning a little bit early. I still had DRs on my stun, so my stun was only 3 seconds. Not exactly enough time for us to get plenty of back-to-back CC on the healer. I honestly should have went for a sap instead. But you live and you learn. You make these videos, you look back at the footage, and you learn from your mistakes. And that's something I simply need to be doing, is keeping my eyes peeled on the type of CCDRs that are up on the enemy. The last part, it's kind of hard to explain, but basically my rogue goes for a shadowy duel with the monk, trying to dish out as much damage into him to take him out of the sight of the healer so no hots can be applied. And once he comes out of the shadowy duel, drops the smoke bomb, the healer gets out of the smoke bomb for a quick second, which gives my rogue enough time to score a kill. That one honestly came down to the RNG at the end, but it shows you just how powerful a subtlety rogue can be. Anyway guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. Just kind of want to show you guys some gameplay of double rogue. I honestly think this comp would really work as double sub, outlaw sub, assassination sub, but I think you need a subtlety rogue to get a little bit of that cross CC back to back in order to make this work. I feel like the extra CC you bring as subtlety lets you lock down one enemy. Shadowy duel is a great bit of 6-second free CC for 50 energy every few minutes, so it can give you a little bit more control in a fight. And for outlaw, what helps this playstyle work is the ranged blind, like a 40-yard range blind, range stun, so you can stun enemies and CC them from a distance without having to move, as well as generally good damage, good sustain that synergizes together with subtlety's bursty playstyle, as well as tricks of trade to beef up the damage of your subtlety to make sure that his burst is extra explosive. I feel like this kind of comp will either force your enemies to use trinkets and pop defensives, where you can reset on them a couple times if you play it right, or it's a kind of comp where enemies won't trinket anything and they'll simply die. It's two options, so then they have to trinket, and then it's all about playing the CC game, the reset game. Of course, this isn't going to work with every single class. Some of the classes that make this a little bit more challenging are Holy Paladins, because of double bop and bubble, making them very, very difficult to lock down, and sometimes making them even a better target to simply truck through with the damage. But that's a video for another time. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you want to see some more double rogue action on this channel. I'd love to bring you guys some games, because that's potentially the comp that I'll be playing for most of my 2v2 games anyway. It's more fun than playing with a healer, because I feel like the stakes are a little bit high. It's pretty cool to have to be forced to get our CC chains right, and it's overall fun to play a class that I like with a buddy with class that he likes, and we're simply play because we want to play. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see all of you guys in another video.